And you just have to move. Even if you're stony, you have to move. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hanging Out with Temi. On this edition, my name is Temi Ajayi, and I've got my friend Heidi Soliman. We're meant to have Miss Greatness on the show. I think she will be with us in a minute. Sometimes she uses Greenwich Meridian time. So our time zone is sometimes different. But anyway, if you're just coming for the first time, thank you for tuning in and for showing up. And if you know someone that we benefit from our amazing topic, provoking, thought provoking, deep insight giving topic, can you share it? And also, if you've got an insight, can you share with us? Don't keep it hiding to yourself. And if you're a first timer, thank you. If you're returning, we say thank you again. Also, Heidi, they said we should be telling people to go on Facebook to like us and to share us. And also to go on YouTube to, what do you do on YouTube?
You subscribe and you press the bell.
And you press the bell. So we alert you anytime that we're on. Thank you, my friend. That is smart. So that's what you do. And it's amazing. It's amazing to always be here to show up. Heidi, what will we be doing otherwise? Do you have an idea?
You know what, Temi? There is always something to do. There is always going to be. I was doing my vision board before. I sat and I thought, you know what? I haven't done a vision board in so many years. And I thought maybe this is a really good time to do a vision board. Where do I see myself in the next, 3 years, 4 years, maybe just in the next 12 months. But then again, I know that it's so important that not to stay fixated on anything, because with what's happening in the world, fixation and being rigid is not going to help or serve. So I was doing my vision board, but then I thought, yay, I've got this show with Temi and we come to talk. You're a friend, and I love to talk to you, and I love to share my ideas and dreams and aspirations, and I love to discuss things that is going to be of benefit for someone else, because I believe that there has to be a message for someone. And a lot of people tune into this show and they are blessed, and they bless us, and we get to learn a lot about it.
Wow, this is so sweet, and it's the utmost truth. I think the reason why we show up every week is to share our insight and to gain. But we know definitely that people are getting blessed and life are getting transformed if they listen, if they watch. Because truly, if I knew what I know now, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, my life will have been different. Truly, I'm grateful for where I am now, but there wasn't any avenue that, maybe women or parents or married person could talk to, on this kind of a platform to us, except that we go to church or we listen to someone on the, on the pew pulpit or, online. But I just want the people that I know, that could get something, the paths that I've worked on, they on the same path. I could share. I'll tell you, for example, when the kids said they're going to have a gap year, where I'm coming from, we don't do that. We're very tunnel narrow people. You finish high school, automatically you go into uni. You go to uni, you go to TAFE, you just have to go to higher institution of some sort. Even if you want to do carpentry, you have to go to uni to learn carpentry. We just do that. But there are lots of avenues where you can be self-sustained and you can be beneficial to the world and to yourself without going to uni. Uni is not the end of the world. But I never knew that until I start to ask people and start to share from different diverse nationality. But otherwise, I don't know more than my culture, my religion. That's it. But like you said, things are changing and you got to change very quickly as it change, because otherwise you will be left behind. You will not know when the whole world is gone. But
So true.
I've got something I want to share with you today, Heidi, and it's related to our topic uh, because it's about commitment. And I hope this will make you laugh. I'm going to come back. Let's have a quick break and see if Miss Greatness is coming. And I'll come back and share this with you. We'll be back. Yes, not in sight yet. I hope all is well with her. Really, I'm a bit concerned. But anyway, let me tell you, I was having a chat to my husband today, and I was talking about commitment. So I said to him, I have a commitment to my chickens. I have to go feed them. And he goes, right. And I said, well, not that I don't have. I mean, he didn't ask me. I just kept talking. I said, it's not that I don't have commitment towards you, but I guess the chicken comes first in this instance. And he goes, that would be right. And then I said to him, however, if you want to look at the thing alphabetically, you're supposed to come before the chicken because your name starts with B and chicken starts with C. If we remove your prefix of O, because your name, really full name starts with O, and then you know what he says? He said, but if you want to translate chicken to our dialect, it will be adie and it starts with A. So he says maybe the chicken will come before him. I'll feed it. I thought that was cool. I'm like, you're very cheeky. But yes, commitment. It just brought me to our topic today, why young men wouldn't commit into relationships. And I got a lot of queries like, why did you say young men? Why did you pick on the men? I thought we have to pick on someone. And however, I thought we will not talk about men without the women anyway, so it's probably going to go vice versa. But why wouldn't young men, commit into a relationship?
Yeah. I like that topic. When I read that title, I thought that was really interesting. And what I wanted to first do is that to do some definitions. So when we say young men, what do we mean by young men? Like what age bracket are we talking about?
We've got Miss Greatness on. She's looking straight. Are you okay? Are you okay? Is somebody dealing with you somewhere? Or what's the matter? Oh, you're muted. I didn't touch it. Hello, Liz. Uh-uh. No, we can't hear you. No. I'm reading your lips. We're like, we can't hear. Hello? Oh, wow. I can hear something though. Never mind. Sorry about that. You were asking a question that um, young men, I'm thinking, start from marriageable age, which is, again, who knows what marriageable age is? But you'll be thinking maybe from 25 or depends on what part of the world you're in. I mean, sometimes we have some men that young men, even 20 in the 21 in a place like where we live in Australia that are committed. So depends on, I'm just saying, when you know that you're ready and you are that age of commitment, you go, So like we know, for example, people finish year 12 here and they might go for apprenticeship and they might start having their own thing. They're ready, they know they're ready, but they're scared of commitment. That's what I'm looking at.
Okay, so young men. Let's talk about young men that are allowed to get married. For example, like starting from the age of 18. So starting from the age of 18 till 25. So let's talk about this bracket. Is this the bracket that we're talking about?
Yes.
And in a different culture,
Yes.
get married a lot earlier as well, like for example, back home in Egypt, we had, if you are wealthy and if you have parents that support you, boys get married straight after year 12 sometimes. They choose a wife and they straight away get married. So I guess we're talking about in the Western culture here in Australia,
Yes.
for example, or the Western cultures in general, and the young brackets of between 18 and 25 or something like that.
Yes.
Um, it's a dilemma, young men committing, okay, because there's so many different issues that are associated with that, Temi. Psychologically, I'm talking about psychologically now, men are not mature enough under the age of 35 in general.
Yeah.
That's just a general statement, okay? And of course, there is so many variants, but men are really not mature under the age, psychologically immature under the age of 35. And the reason is, they need to start learning about what it is to look after myself, what it is to look after, make money and start, going out to the world and be an individual, and also be of use. Like I'm using my time to make this money, or I've got this investment that is making me this money. I'm going to be able to afford to have a family. That idea of being able to afford, that idea of being, because men are doers. You see, men
Yeah.
are doers. They're supposed to have a heightened masculine energy to them. They are doers, so they're gonna have to go in the world and start doing things, and then out of that doing, they can sustain their family. They can have a wife, or they can have children, and they also can exceed in their professional life and all of that. So it's all about having that kind of sustainability of security, I think. And that's one area to look at. And what do you think? What is coming up for you in terms of that topic?
I actually like what you said about men are doer, they're looking for sustainability and security. I'm just wondering, everything you're saying, I think it's got a bit of cultural um, undertone. Okay, it's gonna. I could be wrong because in the olden days, I think that's where we're still working at. Let me. I'll talk about Bible later on because it's another reference about. But culturally, um, men are doer. They want to do. You want to stay home and look after the home. But is it realistic even now? Is it true to this season where we are and this locality? That's why I'm thinking about the culture. I mean, the culture, the world dynamics in entirety is changed. It doesn't matter where you live now. Do you think man they do what they're just going to be doing and they're the only one that are doing? And also, there's a parable that says if one hand, it's difficult for one hand to carry a bucket or a bowl of water on your head. But when you have two, isn't it easier? That's where I'm looking for about the doer. So what I want us to look at today is actually to look very deeply about the story that both boys and girls, men and women, are saying to themselves, I myself and my husband, we just got inducted into the Rotary recently, and I've always loved them. They believe their four cardinal points about, is it true to all concerned? Is it true? Is it true when you say men are dual these days? Is it true? How do you know? Because I can use myself as an example. When I got married, my husband didn't have money when we got married, but the time we came together, it was like something crazy just happened. Under 1 year, Heidi, under 1 year, this guy became a managing director. They telling me go and choose my car, they telling me go and choose the house, and they paid for 1 year and another year in advance. Everything just turned around. So when people are saying they want to do, you could be doing, I believe, forever and ever and achieve nothing. If you think it's about doing, I don't think it's about doing. I think it's about being useful. I'm just going to stop about doing, and then I think that doing relates to the sustainability that you say. And the sustainability, I've got a story about sustainability. Welcome, the second time coming, Miss Greatness. Can you hear us?
Hi, can you hear me
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Thank God. Yes, we can.
Thank you very much. I'm so sorry about that. My network was playing up on me as well, so it made me to struggle a little bit.
It's always good to see you, Miss Greatness.
Thank you.
We live closer, but we don't even see. Anyhow, we were talking. Heidi just asked me before you came on about the definition of the young commitment, the young men from what, and she was talking about in us Western world. We think about from 18 to 25. That will be young men marriageable age. And Heidi said something which I don't even know. She's saying that maybe I know actually. If you're coming from a rich family like back home in Egypt, the family could support you and you could even get committed at a younger age, younger than even 18. I think in my country that could be right. True, they might be engaged, but they might not be married. But when people are rich, they support their family, which is not the thing now. The boys don't want any family support, the girls don't want any family support, and that could be part of their problems. But and Heidi says something about doing, men wants to be doing, and this, and I was trying to debunk the fact that that might not be true reflection of the world that we're in now. That when you want to do, how much do you want to do as a man alone before you think you're ready? And is that what relationship is about? Someone doing? And so, Liz, I'll let you come in at this stage.
Okay. My perspective when we kind of agreed on the topic of why the young boys don't want to commit. My first thought went to according to who.
Oh,
Yeah, I really wanted to know whose perspective that is because that would be of interest. I really don't want to put all the young boys in the same basket because I come from a perspective where I can count young boys that got into relationships and turned out to be very, very good young boys, very, very responsible young boys, and young boys that mean something to their community and to the economic empowerment of their nations and so on. And these are young boys who come determined and they go for what they want. I don't know if that's the case, but when I joined, you were talking about your husband who came in and immediately, he had a wife. He had made advancements at the corporate front, and the rest immediately just followed like that. And those are some of the young boys that I know. So I really want us to distinguish so that we do not do harm to all the young boys, because there are young boys who come and really set the bar high, even for the others who probably are not there yet.
yeah, that's true. I agree with you, and thank you for calling my husband a young boy because he is very young. Indeed, very young. You're right, Liz. You're very right. A lot of people are committed and they have what with the foresight. But I've been interviewing quite a number of guys recently, and thanks Yanko. Yeah, well, Yanko's son is one of those ones that are committed. Good on you, girl. And but anyway, a lot of boys that I've been speaking to these days, both, and it's not just African actually. I've been talking to Anglo-Saxon. I've been talking to Indians. A lot of them, they're running Australians. They said they don't want to be committed. And when I was interviewing them, Liz, like great majority of them, a lot actually. If you look at even in my community, they can challenge me if it's not true. Like the boys, maybe 10% are committed. 10%. That's how low it is in the whole of my community. And so if any one of them want to engage now, where you see all of us bringing our headgear, happy, dancing, like, oh, thank you, Jesus, we got one, like that. So, and one of the things they were saying was what Heidi said, and that's what I want us to talk about, like sustainability, doing. And the other thing they're saying, Heidi and Liz, is that the girls, they said they don't look at them as if they're the provider. They want the girls to rely on the men as the provider. So if the girls are self-sustained, they don't want it. So I said to them, are you intimidated? You know what I mean? Are you intimidated? So this idea of doing, you're very right, is what Heidi said. That's what I reckon the boys are thinking they have to do. So if a woman is successful, they're intimidated by that because they think they're going to be doing. And also, I think also the issue of respect that is being fed and is being taken wrongly. I believe it's been taken wrongly because respect is reciprocal. It's not something you fight to get. You don't get it, you command it. So if your husband, like maybe my husband made me a cup of tea, why will I not bow down for him? It's just vice versa. So if you say something idea about the word useful, I think that's what we should be looking for, I reckon. How can I be useful to this peace that God gave me? Again, we're talking to people that we assume they will be people that are godly, because again, we put a blanket, like you said, Liz, on this relationship. But how did you find your own wife? If you find your own wife at the pub, don't expect your wife to be like the one that is found in Christ. It's not the same. So don't say all women are this. Again, you need to identify where you found yours from. You could find from the pub, pardon me, I'm not putting pub down, but then I reckon if you go to pub, you just drink there, you go there to drink. So this wife could be drinking too. You're drinking, you both drunk, then you'll not be able to make, sensible decision. But if you're the one that go to pub just for fun, have a glass or having lunch, it's different. But I'm talking about people that are reckless. So if you're reckless, don't expect your wife to behave like a lady that is picked properly. You understand? So this idea of doing, I agree with what you said, at least, what you said, that we should not, some boys are good. But what is your idea of doing, you have to be the man that we do everything? What do you reckon? Because that's what they want. They want the woman to be. And I want them to challenge, if they're watching us, if they're not watching now, you can watch us later and just still put your comment. Is it true that you want your wife to be subservient, to be home, we give you your dinner when you come from work, and she's just because you want to do? How much can you?
What I would say to that guy who wants to be the doing guy is rather find your ideal woman. I don't know if there is an ideal person out there, but there's so many things that play out in the relationship over time. You cannot, sometimes you are not even in a relationship and then you are talking about, I want to be a doing husband. And you have no idea of how your relationship, what's going to be the reality of your relationship. There is an ideal perspective that we have about the current marital relationship that you want. but there is the actual relationship, the way it plays out in your house. And that is something that nobody can put a finger on it and say, this is how it is going to be in your house. You will have to get in there and it has to play out. And between the two of you, you work out how you make this work for both the two of you. That is something nobody can explain to you how it's going to be. And until that time, you can never say, this is what I'm going to be, and that's cast in stone. Before you enter there, I will advise that people maintain a flexible approach towards what they are looking for, because aspects like this, a doing husband, you probably want to equally discuss that with your potential partner, that this is who and what I am, and this is what I bring to the table. These are my expectations. And against that background, the two of you could get to know each other, and this thing can play out in a manner during your courtship that maybe you can agree on and see the reality for it, or otherwise, you take it to the next step and you go and see in marriage how it really plays out. But maintaining that flexibility to be able to work towards what your reality is going to be and how it's going to be beneficial for both the two of you. Before that, I think we can advise all we want, but the reality of every relationship is, so different from one to another, and we will not be able to do justice to that question.
That is really true. That's true, because you don't know what you're getting into until you get there. You might marry and having the mind of, in 2 years we're going to have a baby. What if you don't have a baby in 10 years? You might say, I'm going to have this baby and and then what if you have a child with disability? Then the whole dynamic of your family will change. That is why they say relationship is not for the boys and the girls. So what are we teaching? I believe fear is part of the issues. What type of fear did you reckon where we as parents, consciously or unconsciously, are feeding our kids the fear? The boys are fearful of, maybe the girl is not going to respect me, for example. What is that? Why are you having that notion of respect? How do you define your respect? Like we're talking about flexibility. How do you define respect? What fear are we feeding into the kids, knowingly or unknowingly?
Yeah, that's a great question. Before I answer this question, I'm just going to define two different things here. There is a difference between men and women.
Yeah.
There is that's one side. And then the other side, there is a masculine and feminine dimension of each individual person. Mm-hmm. So I have a masculine and feminine dimension inside me. Every single person does. Has nothing to do with me being a man or a woman.
Right.
What happens in our homes is that these two dimensions are so imbalanced. And then we bring up imbalanced children, and then they say the dynamics at home, and then they don't understand what is happening. They don't know, how is that possible? How is mom, doing this and that? And how's dad doing, being something that he's not supposed to be? So balancing the dimensions, do exactly like defining the roles of, well, mom is going to do this and dad is going to do this. And we are all balanced in this house. There is no deficiency. There's no need for us to compensate for an insecurity that's inside us. So as soon as we start compensating for a specific insecurity that is inside us, it is so well read, it is so well seen from our children. They are so smart.
Yeah.
They can see their mother defeated, not in power. Because you know what? Because I could tell my husband, I want to happily stay home. And he doesn't need to tell me you have to stay home. I'm going to say, you know what? I am a strong woman, and I'm happily going to stay home and mother my kids.
Yes.
coming from that place is not the same thing like, oh my goodness, I'm so defeated, I'm a victim. He told me to stay home. What the hell? You know, there's so much, there's that difference, you see. It's the same thing. We're going to end up with the same results, but who am I being receiving that? Who am I being expressing that to my kids? And that's why we have children like that. So the kids, the boys at home, they are brought up with broken mothers.
Wow.
If I had a son, I bet you any money that son would have been so broken, because I was a wounded feminine in my marriage, in my relationship with my husband. And that wound, okay, would have brought up a son who doesn't have masculine enough in him because his mother is wounded. So this is the dynamics that is happening all around us in the world at the moment, because women are taking on different roles, and they are taking it on not with gentleness, not with kindness, not with humbleness, not with surrendering. They are taking them on like, let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you. I'm going to take on the world. I'm gonna make sure that I show all of these men who I am. Well, this is not how it's supposed to happen. Where are we coming from? Who are we being? Expressing ourselves and taking on different roles in the world is where it all happens. It's not what we do. It's who we are being before we do it.
I like what you said. I do. Let's go on a break, and I'll come back and tell you about a wounded woman in a minute. We'll be back. Welcome again to Hanging Out with me. And this time we're talking about why young men would not commit into a relationship or into relationships. And if you're joining us for the first time, thank you. If you're our perpetual returning, we say thank you at the same time. Please share, like, and press the bell, like I did say, and subscribe. So we're both on YouTube and on Facebook. Heidi, you were talking about who is presented as a victim. I think this thing is like a visual cycle to me. Our parents taught us somehow, and then we're teaching our children somehow. People are coming with a lot of uh, esteem, maybe some sort of esteem, low, it could be a high, imbalanced esteem. I think that is what is killing. So if you're going into a relationship, yourself, you have self-confidence, you're sure of who you are, then you shouldn't be playing that victim. And if you know the place you come from, you know how you got there in the first place. You know what to do. But that story reminded me of what happened. I don't know if I said this before the show, when I was tired on a day, very tired. So I was lying down, and then the kids are like, Mom, just rest, you're tired. I said, but I need to feed your dad. I like to feed him. He's not asking me for food. My husband is good with cornflakes and milk. He doesn't care. Cornflakes, milk, beans is fine. But I'm the one that just think, oh, I just need to feed him because I want his brain to keep functioning for my good, you see. So, and the kids are, why are you doing that? And then one of them said with big mouth, is like, oh, I can't believe this sort of slavery mentality to me. And then I had a good laugh, and I said, isn't it a shame that you don't know your mother? If there's anything about this mentality, it's what I don't have. I never had it. Never. So, and I said, well, if your definition of me looking after my husband is slavery. I said, I don't mind that type of slavery, by the way. If the slave can buy $3,000 worth of bags, then I would rather be that slave forever. You're not a slave, but you can't afford it. And pray that your husband can buy you that bag. You know what I'm saying? So they laugh it, they just laughed. I say all that story to just know yourself. Know your problem. Stop shifting it on the man made you this, the man made you that. And that's what the problem is. But I say that to go back to the fear that the boys are going, we're talking about the boys now going to the relationship that I want to be the one that is doing. So if I don't do, they will not respect me. But we know that even in these days, that the only thing that is constant is change. They've always been telling us this, but in this time, now we know it's a fact. It's the change. That's the only thing that is constant. So you might be affordable. You can look after your home today. What if you're sacked tomorrow? What if your organization liquidate tomorrow? The whole, even if you're working for government, some people say I work for government because there's job security. Where is the job security? There's no job security anywhere. Big institution, they shut down because of one problem or the other. So nothing is secure. But I listened to a man called Rabbi Daniel Lapin. Don't know if you heard about him. This rabbi was talking about his wife. They've got a set of twins. I don't know if they're 50 years old. And then this story I was attracted to the story. The wife, they had their twins at the boarding school at the time. So the mother will write a letter to the kids, to the children. We write half and finish it in another page and send different letters to them that had no meaning. So they had to come together to read their different letters to marry them together. How good is that? That is relationship. And if there's anything I want to put forward today is to start to teach our family, our children, that they should have a life of service. Have a life of complementing each other. You might be good at maths. This person might be good in English. We're all good in any way or shape you come. Like Liz said before, I like that. She said, you'll find a person of your pattern if that's what you're looking for. But when you find it, then appreciate it. If you want a stay-home mother, you'll find a girl that wants to say, I want to stay home. You might not believe it. I like to stay at home. I will stay home maybe 5 days a week and I'll go out 2 days a week. Either way, if you kick me out, I'm fine outside. If you put me home, I'm safe home. But really, I don't mind. I said to my husband, you go work, honey. I'll work when I like to work. But don't rely on me. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. If you want me to stay home, if you can maintain me, good, God bless you then. Good luck, because I'm very expensive. It's up to you if you want to keep me home. But seriously, we need to complement each other. That's the security. We already talked about security. And I think I said this one day to a man, and I said, do you think you're insecure in yourself? Do you think, I just said the man, statistically or generally has to be about 35 years before they mature. Is it immaturity and insecurity? Is that what it is? Liz was talking about the boys. Do you think? And how do we now start to talk to the kids to be able to, two things I want to say. Don't look at the pattern of your parents to determine your own life. If my marriage doesn't work, doesn't mean yours won't work. God has given you a uniqueness, a wisdom, to be you. And anyway, before we were formed, He knew us. So everybody is come with their own hook. My life is not your life. So why do you look at your parents and say, oh, my mom is not lucky, maybe I'm not going to be. That's a curse. Why are you cursing yourself? So we need to change that. Don't look at that and say, my father is this, maybe your life is that. That is generational curses. We need to start talking about our children separating their life and pray and build their life uniquely. And that insecurity, why do you develop that insecurity? And it's a thing that you can fight against. You can work and build yourself with self-development. I want you ladies to talk to me about that. So you don't keep on saying you're insecure. And sometimes because they're insecure, you take it out on the other person, on your wife. You want to put your wife down because you're down. No, just work yourself up. Don't bring your wife down because you're down because of your own low self-esteem. That's what I want you to speak to life to for the parents. And I'm talking about parents even of the younger one, like 5 years, 6 years, then that's how they develop. Because when they're like 25, it's too late anyway. So let us start talking to the younger kids now about this. Please help me to talk to them about this.
Yeah, insecurity. I think those are two things that go hand in hand: the fear and the insecurities. Reason being, from my perspective, the systems have changed. We are coming from a system that used to empower men and put men in positions of power.
Mhm.
We have moved over to a system that is women centric. Everything women is being empowered, is being put in power, and is receiving all the attention that it can, so that it can go further.
Right.
And the boys are growing up to see this, how the girls are being empowered,
Wow.
how that everything is conspiring towards the advancement of girls, and how that girls, as Heidi was saying, are adopting that attitude that I can do anything that a man can do plus more.
Mhm.
That's the attitude of our girls, and the attitude of women is I can do all things men can do.
Mhm.
And so, together with women and girls, we are taking on the world, and we have, in the process, emasculate our men. We have emasculated our boys, and this, in return, is creating the fear and bringing the insecurity in the boys, whether they have what it takes to be able to be the men that they thought they wanted to be for this woman or for his new wife. And
That's it.
that's where it comes from. That is my perspective, because this thing is playing out in homes in the area of domestic violence,
Mhm.
where the woman is, putting herself on a pedestal in terms of what she can do, because we also see how many zeros she can make with her salary,
Mhm.
and how far she can go in terms of, career wise, and the car she can buy and the house she can buy, and at least for you, your husband can buy you the handbag. Some girls can go in and buy that handbag for themselves. They don't need a husband to do that.
I don't
So
know.
this,
By the way, I can buy.
yeah, now this thing, really impacts our boys. Already, if you can look at universities, percentage wise, we have 30% more girls at uni than boys.
Demonstrate.
Boys are dropping out even at secondary school. It's a very few number of boys who even make it through secondary to uni.
It's true.
So already as they grow up, this insecurity and fear is gripping our boys, and our girls are thriving already from that young age. So we are challenged because the roles have changed and the support that we used to get have changed. We need to look into these things to see how we can strike a balance and not move the quantum more to the other side than to this side, but rather have a balance in how we support both the boys and the girls, how we support both the men and the women at the same time. Because the imbalance in that unfortunate impact, and that is what we are talking about is as a result of that impact.
I agree 100%. I can't agree more. Heidi.
Yes, I believe that it all starts from from the home, from our houses, and from our churches, and from our schools. You know, the education system and everything like that. Let's go back to basics.
Mhm,
Let's just go back to basics for a sec here.
mhm.
Okay, how and why we were created the way we were created. You know, Adam was brought up to this earth for a reason, and then God brought him Eve for for support, for to have the company, to be someone there for him. It's not good for him to be alone, and all of that. He gave him his job, and he gave her job.
That's right. That's
The world is changing, yes, it is, and we are doing what men are doing, yes, we are, but you know, the corruption happens right here.
mhm.
The corruption happens, like we ruin our kids. You know, when we tell our daughters, "Come on, you're gonna be doing that. You're gonna be the first millionaire in the family, or you're gonna empower them that way." And my daughters, included. When Ellie finished year 12, I said, "Come on, she straight away 3 weeks later she had 2 jobs and a business to run. She did this for 3 months and then she started uni, and then now she's juggling jobs, uni, and a business. Like, what is that? And she needs to look after herself, and she needs to look after her own emotional needs, and she needs to look after everything that is happening in her world. And there has to be a stand where we actually understand, us women, grown up women, we understand that this is not right. When, how enough is enough? Like, when is it when we would know that enough is enough?
Right.
Can she afford another job? Can she do another job? Yes, she can, because she has another 8 hours a week that are, she's doing nothing for another 8 hours. She can afford another job. Am I gonna push her to do that? Or am I gonna tell her, you know what, you need to enjoy yourself, you need to, have this beautiful life come through you and experience this beautiful experience? What is it that we're gonna advise our kids? I think, as parents, we need to be educated. We need
Yeah.
to have a proper vision of where we are taking our kids,
Yeah.
and start looking at the real problems and the real issues. Addictions, you can't imagine problems of addictions in very young ages of children. And I would love to bring that one day as a topic, and would love to get someone to talk to us about this. Temi and Liz, it is not funny. Kids as young as 12, 13, 14, they have addiction problems.
Wow.
Why?
Wow. Wow.
Like, something is very wrong.
Yeah. So I think, it still boils down to that insecurity, because all those addiction, they just you're just trying to fill the hollow in your
Yeah.
life. And just, I think also what we're saying here is for the parents to be mindful what we're teaching them and what we're portraying, what you're telling them. Are you portraying mentality of wounded mentality
Yeah.
or abused mentality? What are you preaching in your home? Number one. Number two is to make them balance the value that you're presenting to the both boys and girls. And it's so painful and so sad to see that the girls will think, what have you got to bring to the table to their partner or whatever? That's so disgraceful. And I truly believe that if a girl is talking like that, they're coming from a poverty mentality kind of a thing, that they're idolizing whatever they got. So if you got money or got some valuable thing, you treasure that and you make that your God. All those physical things that you can touch, you can feel, they're not eternal. They're not the thing that will give you everlasting joy and fulfillment in your life. Because if that is it, millionaires wouldn't be committing suicide. The
Mm.
greatest amount of people that compute abuse, that that are harmful to themselves are the richest ones because of the issues that they have. So money does not fill. Whatever acquisition you have does not bring fulfillment. So I think from the tender age, we have to start to teach our children what really matter in life. Some of us got to age 40 and 50 and discovered that, oh, after all that, so what? So what? Well, what have you done? Some doctors, I'm just using word loosely, some professionals, they're very rich. Nobody knows if they're alive or they whatever. But then if you're going on your street and you see the traffic warden, you see somebody picking garbage on the road, you stop back and have a second look, wouldn't you? Like, wow, oh, God bless you, thank you for doing that. So it's the people that are serving humanity, that have the purpose of how can I help, that we have the fulfillment of joy in the end time. So we need to be teaching the children what really, really matters. The other thing I was going to say is, when the children start to have sense of independence, it has its own advantages, I think, and it has its own disadvantages. Where we come from, our parents tell us something, we say, yes, mom, yes, dad. We listen. They tell us we want you to go to some school to do accounting because you're good with maths. We say, yes, dad. These days, you talk to 2-year-old, they're talking blah, blah with big mouth. I know these things has its advantage, but then you need to check it when you have a child that has tendency to be proud, tendency to be wayward. You have to be able to know how to tame these kids. Again, I remember when we were growing up, all of us used to share one room, double bunk. Your sister, the oldest, will take the top, you'll be down. They'll be kicking we are in the same room. Now, from the day they're born, they're in different room, they don't share, they don't care. So this attitude of carelessness from home is what they bring out. Selfishness, it's only I and myself, my room. How would they be able to commit to have a partner that is going to share a room with them? Ask me. I don't care. I don't want my wife because my wife is going to push my stockings. My wife is going to see that I'm dirty. It's okay, honey, you're dirty. That's why you got the wife might help you, to get better. So I guess we've already agreed on this show today. I think we got some messages here. Please, let's have a quick look at that. Please, oh yeah, that's not what I want. This one is what I want. Where is it? Young men can do lasting relationship here in the developed world because some of these girls missed work policies with relationship. Most people work in the health sectors, so men are scared with their respective behavior. If you bring your work home to run your family, the relationship will die out. So commit to such people in a relationship is very difficult. Oh my gosh. So they bring, maybe if their bosses at work, as a lady, then they come home to be the boss of their husbands. Again, they probably from a poor mentality life. Loving is giving and forgiving, taking and partaking of the sweetest joy I know, and most comforting reassurance imaginable. This person is in love, of course. Love can work wonders. It can take every hope and well wishing along with it on the journey. Love can feel at home no matter where it is, as long as that it has a companion there by its side to make each piece each day. And oh my gosh, somebody is in love. Thank you so much. We need to hear more people that are in love. That's from a man. We need to hear that. So it's not all relationship that goes in glooming and dooming. I've got one more thing to say also. This is very important. I want to say to the young boys and the young girls there that don't use a temporary mistake to make an eternal decision. People grow up at different levels. So the girl can misbehave one day to now, what you think misbehavior to you. She might grow up tomorrow. She might not know. That's because you're all both growing. We assume, yeah, they're still growing. The boy can make a mistake. He's only a boy. I actually want a boy to be a boy. I want a girl to be a girl. Just do, been there, done that, be free and make mistakes, and then they will mature. But don't throw the dirty water with the baby, because you never know. I believe these days, challenge me if I'm right or wrong, I think the kids are not forgiving as well. They always believe they know that boy is bad. I know you might not know. What if you're wrong? What if you're wrong? And that could be the partner of your life. They're not forgiving, they're very judgmental, and they think they know. They're wise in a lot of ways, but when it comes to relationship, I think most of them don't know nothing. They don't know a lot, because the way they define their love is so silly. When they're talking to me about love, it's like, no, honey. One thing I agree with the youth is, don't be abused. I agree. Because a lot of us, we don't know what abuse was. I mean, thank God if you don't know, you don't know. Who cares? We don't know. We survive it, and it's okay. We're not dead by now. We're alive. And, and we've all grown up, we're all matured, and everything is fine. But the kids these days, I know they know what an abuse is. Abuse, they know, but relationship and love, they don't know. That they don't know. So I want to challenge the youth to be forgiving, to be giving, to be forgiving, and to be giving. I'm going to stop there, but that's my heart, because, like that man said, there is beauty in relationship. Absolutely. I want to wake up at 3 o'clock and disturb someone and say, "Can I share something with you?" 3 a.m. Sometimes I feel like calling Liz or Heidi 3 a.m., but I'm like, oh, Heidi sleeps at 9. Oh gosh, I'm not gonna get. But this thing is, but I don't want to keep it to tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I think there's beauty when you have your person, but you have to be giving, forgiving, and go with the heart of giving. There's beauty. Also, time is clicking. If you think, I don't care now, you're young, you're 80, you don't care. Time is clicking. You too will grow old. And what are you going to show for your life, for yourself, and for the others? I'm going to stop there. And that's my heart. And I hope somebody hears me, for giving and have a heart to serve other and to give and to make them better from how they came to you, both ways. Ladies, I'm going to let you go, and we're going to call it a day from there. Is there anything else that is burning in your heart you want to share with our boys and girls? Because it takes two to tango.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I can only say that you know about you only as far as you know.
True.
But there's something about having that person with you who can allow you to be who you are and
Mm-hmm.
allow you to even grow into the person that you want to become or that you have to become. Much of a relationship is a growing ground, and it introduces you to your to your areas of development.
I like
These
that.
things you don't see them when you are on your own, because you can only see as far as you can.
True.
But when there is the other person who is sitting outside the rank and looking at you, they have what it takes to see the areas that you do not see. And those are the areas that allows for your growth. And that is what relationships are. You
Wow.
grow in them. And against that background, I want to agree with you, Temi, in saying be forgiving, and more so for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Be forgiving to you, because in a relationship, more of you is going to come out. So if you cannot even be forgiving to you, then there's disaster lying ahead for you. So take all this on board. Um, know that in a relationship, you're going to learn more about yourself, and you will definitely rely more on the values of forgiveness and forgiving more so to yourself.
More so to yourself. That is unbelievable, Liz. I like that one. Thank you for that. Yeah, free Sunny, Fred Sunny. I beg your pardon. Love is giving and let live. Yeah, very important. Thank you, Heidi.
Yeah, I love what Liz just shared. It's so true, and I'm gonna just sum this all up by saying, you know, I'm an entity. The other person in the relationship is an entity, and the relationship itself is a third entity.
Mm-hmm.
The relationship needs to work for me. I don't work for the relationship. So,
Mm-hmm.
with that understanding, knowing that, I'm here to serve the relationship, that's not right. The relationship is here to serve me and my partner. But it's an entity because every time I work on myself, I'm actually working on the entity of the relationship, that umbrella that we have on top of each other, just right here. So the two of us are growing, and if we grow into the best and the most expression of ourselves, the relationship automatically is elevated, is evolved, is already in a better expression of itself. And so it's all about us, and it's all about us individually, and working on our own issues individually, while we are mirrored, like what Liz said, we are mirrored by the other person. And in that, where the ultimate and most growth can ever happen, it's an explosion of truth when you are faced with another person in front of you where you can't really hide. You need
That's
to,
right.
face your shit. And then,
Absolutely.
you can't go anywhere. And so, young men, young women, commit and make sure that you do the work while you are committed, because if there is love, it will allow for that growth to happen.
Wow. That's where we're going to stop today. If there's love, is going to give the room for that love to happen. And when you're talking, I'm thinking about Trinity. Trinity. So
Yes.
there's that and that one in the middle. But it's fantastic, and we hope that little that we've shared will be useful to you. We're here to serve, and we really want you to change for better, your life to change for better. Live and love. That's what we preach. There's benefit in loving. God bless you, and we see you again next week. Until then, we're going to say our real
Um,
bye. See you then.
Goodbye.